Morning, Stampers. Hello and welcome to the Loven Stamps studio. So we are excited to be here together again. I haven't seen you guys for a week. It's been so long. And I have a whole mess of notes to share with you about announcements that have just come out in the last few hours actually. So those are going to be really exciting and I'll kind of mix them in as we come along on our video today. But wherever you are at, if you have fall temperatures coming your way, or uh, maybe you have them already, we are excited to share today's card, which really makes the most of these autumn ideas. And the die set we're using is actually from Amber Autumn Dies. And we are going to be using this amazing frame here, this guy right here. And I have some recommendations on making this work for you really easily, which you're going to find super handy. And then we're going to mix that with the fun and punny Fluffy Squirrel stamp set. So this one is, of course, one of my favorites because it has really great puns in it. You know me and a punny stamp set, we go together just oh so well. The other thing we're going to add to this card is, because I was kind of thinking maybe like some sunsets, is our blending brushes. So we have a great blending brush technique to pull in today and some amazing colors to go along. And as always, the supply link is in the comments and in the description. So you can check those out and know exactly what colors I'm using and so forth if you are interested. So yay, I missed you last week too, Lori. So we were here on Tuesday. I shared a new project with the fantastic Jolly Delivery stamp set and the North Pole Delivery Suite that you guys are going to love. This one here with that window card. So if you missed that one, you can go back and see it. It's also a blog post on the Loven Stamps blog where you can always find all of the latest information on everything that I'm doing. So let's see. Oh, yay. Hi, Sue. Hi, Tanya. All right. I think with that, are you guys ready to get stamping? I'm ready to get stamping. I'm going to switch our camera down here and let's take a look kind of at what we're doing here. So we have, like I said, Fluffy Squirrel and this autumn frame, and I'm going to bring in some cardstock here. Now, this looks very not colorful. Don't worry, the colors are coming, but we're going to go ahead and start. This is just a half a sheet of pecan pie. I love pecan pie for its sort of a neutral flavor, but with like such a warm hint. And so we're going to layer that. This is going to be our ombre layer here. And then over that, we're going to make this silhouette here with our piece of early espresso cardstock. And I've cut this one down to, let's see, it's as if you were doing the white layer. So the white layer is going to be 5 1/4 by 4. And then this one, the espresso layer is 1/8 less. So instead of 4, it's going to be 3 7/8. And instead of 5 1/4, it's going to be 5 1/8. Basically, we want this to just be a tiny little bit of a frame that's going to fit here inside our basic white layer, which is not going to be basic white for long. So don't worry. Hey, Linda. Hey, Nikki. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut this. But before we do, I'm going to give you a hint that's going to make your life maybe a little easier. These are the Stampin' Up! Adhesive sheets, and they're linked in this product list, the supply list for this card. But they basically are a sheet of adhesive. They come, you get 12 sheets of the full 6 by 12 piece, and they come as 2 layers of backing paper with adhesive stuck between. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim a little bit because we don't need a ton to go with our project. I'm just going to go ahead and trim 2 strips, maybe about 1/2 inch each. Okay. And when I cut this, now I'm going to apply to the back of our card. Now, why, or cardstock, why am I not using a whole piece? You could definitely use a whole piece. I'm going to find those the cracked layers so that I can, or the cracked spots in the backing paper make it really easy to peel. You could put a whole piece across here. You are adding a little bit more for a very detailed die like this to cut. And so I find sometimes just less is more. You don't have to cover the whole thing. You're still going to get really good coverage. and adhesive. You could pop some in the middle if you want to, but I think this is going to be adequate for our purposes. So, all right. Now, what else are you going to want when you are die cutting with a die that is this detailed? You are going to want, so this is going to give us a way to attach it. We're also going to want a way to make it easy for those pieces to cut through. And so there's two things, one before and one after, that's going to help with that. Okay. Hey, Kelly. Yay, we got a good crowd this morning. All right. So one of the things which I realized I may not have grabbed, and let's see, I have a partial piece. I keep my, there we go, I do have a piece. I keep my roll of wax paper handy, because what I like to do is put a piece of wax paper between the die and the cardstock when I have something this detailed, and that's going to just really help those pieces pop out. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is make sure that this doesn't shift on me, and so I'm going to snag a piece of washi tape here that is going to hold our layers together. So I'm going to pop this here along this edge, get this centered, and make sure that this is adhered right here to our cardstock. All right, now come with me for a moment. We're going to take this to our die cut station, and we're going to pop this through. Now, for something with this many little nooks and crannies, I am going to definitely run this through a few times. So I'm going to run it through once. I'm just going to turn it right back around and run it through again. We'll do one more, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off and just turn it like 45 degrees. And what I like about that is that it's going to make those roller bars hit the die just a little bit differently, and any little bits that were lingering now should pop through pretty easily. And so let me bring this back to you, and I'll show you the next trick, ta-da, that is going to make our lives easier. So, all right, so here's our die. It's just come through. I always like to look at the back and make sure everything looks cut. I feel like this is looking pretty good. And now we are going to, before I take the die off, I usually like to kind of get the biggest pieces out. I will use my take your pick tool. So when the take your pick tool comes, of course, it looks like this with a pokey tool slash spatula tool end and the putty tip end. But you can also unscrew the putty tip end and put in instead this die brush. When you get the die brush, it comes with a couple of these mats, which is good because they're they get just a little bit marked up. You can see here as you use them. So what I'm going to do before I take the die away, I'm just going to give this the best chance at popping things through. Now we have made the wax paper layer on the front is going to make things easier. The adhesive sheets we put on the back is going to make things trickier. Okay. Hi, Unica. All right. So we're going to pull this off now. Our washi tape. Oh, I really pushed that down. Okay. And you can see right away that most of the pieces are not stuck here. I think there's one piece there that's stuck in our die, maybe a couple here because of the washi tape. But really that did a great job, the wax paper, of keeping things from being stuck in our die, which means this is ready to go again. Now we want to get the rest of this off. So I'm going to pull off our waxed paper, and I'm going to get rid of this chunk of stuff. And now we're going to go back with our die brush, and I'm just going to go over this gently and pop through the rest of any pieces. Now, you'll notice that at the top and the bottom where I put the adhesive sheet, there is there is a little more stuck here. And so those things are probably going to pop out when we peel our adhesive sheet here at the back. So I'm not going to worry about those too much at the moment, but I'm going to see if I can get the rest out of here. All right, and clean up our table. And actually, I really want to clean this up because I don't want all of that little paper gamish to get caught up in our blending brush when we do our blending brushes. Okay, so here is our frame, which is going to layer right over here. And so now we need to make our pretty background. All right, you guys ready for the pretty part? All right. So now we've got our blending brushes and our ink colors. Now, how did I pick these ink colors? It's a mystery. No, it's not really a mystery. It's really simple. These three are ink colors So they go together beautifully. Within any of our color families, you know, you can mix and match 2, 3, 4 colors with no problem, and everything will look absolutely beautiful at the end. So those colors all go together, and then I added one dark color in Blackberry Bliss. Now, if you want to know where I got the inspiration for this to begin with, I started off by using my phone and I just Googled fall sunset. And the pictures that came up were yellow, orange, purple. And I thought, okay, well, that's where I'm starting from. All right. So when you want to add your color, you want to use a blending brush to pick up color by swirling on your ink pad. And then you want to swirl onto your cardstock. Now, I feel like this Timid Tiger is not as saturated as I want. So I was going to re-ink it. I re-inked some others already this morning, but I figured I'd wait and show you this so that you can see. Now, on the Firm Foam ink pads, those are the ink pads that Stampin' Up! Carries now, you can see usually where there's a little lighter area and there's less ink available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little zigzag, and I'm going to do just kind of at the end here rather than the whole pad over. Now, part of the reason for that is that often when you add ink, it's going to be kind of super saturated for a little bit. And so if I have a stamp, I might choose to stamp up here instead of down here. But the good news is that blending brushes are an amazing way to get that ink mushed in, okay, or to even it out. You can kind of see that zigzag on there. But when I use my blending brush and run across there, it's going to smooth that ink together. It's going to be super saturated here on my card, which is fine for me. And so the blending brush and the super saturated ink pad work really, really well together. And now you can see how pretty those colors are when they come together. I might add just a little bit more here of the Darling Duckling to blend. All right. And then I just earlier this morning inked my Strawberry Slush. So this one's probably going to be super strong too. Oh, I love, love, love the way the basic white cardstock accepts the ink, so that you get these really nice blendy colors here with your blending brushes. All cardstock is not the same, as you guys know. So keep in mind that your mileage may vary depending on what kind of paper you're using. All right, and then I'm going to come back with the last color here, which is Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to add, and you'll find that the more, or the longer it's been since you re-inked your ink pad, the more often you'll just have to go back to it and pick up more color. So the blending brushes are great at transferring the ink. They don't hold on to a ton of it. So you just pick up more ink more often, and then you can use the brush to kind of blend those colors together. All right, so now we have this awesome super saturated with a purple fingerprint down here at the bottom. Trying to keep your fingers out of your pieces for best results. That's okay, most of it's gonna get covered up anyway. All right, and I am going to go ahead and close all these so we don't have any inky sad things happen. And now we're going to take a look at this here with our layer over the front. You can kind of see how pretty this is going to be here with that ombre background. All right, so let's go ahead and attach this to our card. I'm going to use multi-purpose liquid glue. Get that off there. Let's see, there we go. All right, so we're going to pop this on. Remember, if you can see it, it's enough. And if you don't have the adhesive sheets to use with your dies, I'm going to smush from the back side because that's pretty inky. Otherwise, I would end up with a very inky hand. When you get so much ink saturated on there, you're going to find that it's going to take a little bit longer to really sink in and dry. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to peel off these backings here. So hopefully, there we go. There we go. Yep. So most of those extra little bits there from the die are popping out as we go. And there's one piece there that didn't get peeled because it's not connected. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. And I know we're going to have to peel at least a couple pieces because the die is kind of chopped up here. So let's see. The nice thing about this is that now we don't have to worry about using glue. Yep, and all those, see the extra pieces that are all popping out of there? So pull this out and this last little bit, there we go, if I can get it. And now I can take our frame and go ahead and pop it down and see most of our fingerprint got covered up. So happy happy day there. And we're just going to set this down. Again, smush from the back side, much safer than smushing from the front side. And now we have this really gorgeous ombre frame with this really pretty background. So, oh, it's not sticking there. We'll give it a second. Actually, let's make sure we do at the top and the bottom, since that's where the adhesive is. When in doubt, you can always use your bone folder. Is a good tool to make sure that you're getting a really good bond between the adhesive and the paper. All right, there we go. Now it seems to be doing what we want. So let's get rid of this, and we're going to come back, and now we have some stamping to do. All right, you guys ready for this? So we are going to, like I said, add a fun squirrel to our card. So I have a piece of basic white cardstock here, and then we have, of course, the inside of our card. So the Fluffy Squirrel stamp set is 2-step, and it has a builder punch like this. So what we're going to do, we're going to stamp our squirrel here. There's one squirrel in the set here that is meant to be punched, and then the other Fluffy Squirrel is an accessory image that doesn't have a matching punch. So we're going to use it in a way that we don't have to worry about whether it's punched or cut or anything. All right, so we're going to stamp our squirrel, our punchy squirrel here. And I'm using early espresso. Oops, I guess I only need one of those. And then we're going to use our non-punchy squirrel here, and he is going to sit on the inside of our card. And now we're going to add those insides of our cards, and I'm going to bring my scrap paper for one more second, because what I want to do is stamp off. I don't want this pecan pie squirrel to be quite as strong as it is when you first ink it. I want it to be a little lighter. So I'm going to line this up and stamp our squirrel friend here, okay? And same, there's a secondary image to go along with our punchy squirrel. We're going to do the same. We're going to stamp that one off, and then I'm going to stamp here on our project. So the closer you get, the easier it is to see where you're lined up. So I just sort of get closer and closer and closer until everything is ready to stamp, and then we have our pieces. All right, so let's see, we are, yes, done with this stamp, but we still need our espresso, so we're going to hang on to that. And let's go ahead and grab our punch and pop this in here. And when you use your Stampin' Up! Punches, remember you want to punch, so most people think of this as the top and this is the bottom. That's fine. Usually when you use your punch, though, you're going to punch with the bottom side up so you can see what you're doing, and then go ahead and punch out. We're going to hang on to this little nut here. There's our frame. And then we're going to use this tiny little squirrel nut piece. Oh my goodness. This is an inky finger morning for me. Goodness gracious. I'm super glad to have my Stampin' Chamois handy. Oh goodness. Yay. Okay. I'm glad you like that, Kelly. All right. So we're going to stamp upside down on our nut. I find the easiest thing to stamp upside down is to go ahead and put my stamp side up and then just press my cardstock down on it, and that way I can kind of see what I'm doing. You can also go this direction, and honestly it's a tiny scrap, so you could just decide to restamp and punch or whatever makes you happy. I'm going to use my I guess I am going to use pecan again. I'm going to use this little hash here from our stamp set to add a little hash to the top. I'm just going to kind of stamp on the edge of the top of our acorn there. And then I'm going to bring my, well, I'll do it on the back here. I'm going to bring my orange in, and I'm just going to tap just a couple times to give that just a little color and a little interest. Okay. And then our squirrel friend, of course, is going to hold on to the nut. Now we need a greeting, and the very punny "Go Nuts, It's Your Birthday" and "May You Gather Happiness" works so nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and ink those in early espresso, and I'm going to pop on a strip of crumb cake cardstock here for our "Go Nuts, It's Your Birthday." And I'm going to stamp "May You Gather Happiness" here on the inside of our card. Okay. And then I'm going to make this a little longer than it needs to be because we want to give our squirrel sort of an anchor on our card front, so it's not just floating. I'm going to cut a little tail there. So when I say I want to anchor our squirrel, if I just put our squirrel right here in the middle of our card, he is, she is, I don't know, is it he or she squirrel? Super cute, but a little bit floaty. So what I'm going to do, and by floaty, I mean it's just kind of stuck on there. So what I want to do is I want to create a visual line and sort of a visual home for our squirrel. And we're going to do that by adding this banner here. And so now do you see where like the squirrel looks like it belongs there? The squirrel has a place on our card, and it's part of this greeting strip here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on. I happen to have here a long strip of dimensionals, so I'm going to use this to hold our greeting on rather than doing a whole bunch of little pieces because it's handy, and it's also going to reinforce any adhesive needed on our background piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals on our squirrel, but I'm going to put them back out here so that they're not stacking up too high. So those are out here. They're not stacking up too high on our greeting strip. Okay. All right, so let's pop it, our cute squirrel friend. And then I'm gonna put just a little bit of dot of glue right there and pop our little nut into their hand. All right, so now we have our elements there. We have some bling to add to the front. I'm gonna talk about that for a second. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add this to the inside of our card. And this, of course, is our stamped squirrel friend for the inside of our card. I really like stamping in my cards and having that extra, you have all the pieces out from your making your card fronts, you might as well stamp your inside and then sometimes even your envelope to go with. So, all right, bling for the front of our Fluffy Squirrel card. So I have here the Cajun Craze and Gold Dots. This is a half of piece because I wanted to make sure I reminded you that this is the last chance to sign up for the Loven Stamps Designer Series Paper Share. Here is a little reminder. It's bit.ly holiday 25 share, no caps if you are still looking to sign up, but today's the official last day to sign up. I just found out today, we just got an announcement about international shopping. And so I probably will keep this open till tomorrow, just in case we have any international friends. But so two separate announcements there that I just kind of glossed over. So one, Designer Series Paper Share. So you'll get all of the 53 Designer Series papers and specialty papers along with the coordinating cardstock to match. So this one is from the September online exclusives. You're also going to get all of the holiday mini catalog papers and cardstock colors matching. Why does this one have one? Oh, there, because there's one tucked under. It's like there's only 5 there. All right, so all the pretty papers, 53 different sheets like this, and then you're going to get card bases to match on all of the cardstock. So lots of pretties available there. Okay. The other thing you can sign up for is the embellishment add-on if you would like. You're going to get a half a package of all, I think there's 8 or 9 embellishments. And if you get the embellishment add-on, you're going to get a whole package of the gold shaker stars to go along with it. So that's kind of a big bonus. This ink is making me nervous. Yay, thanks Anne. I'm glad you like it. I assume you're talking about the card. So you're going to get a half a package of each of these, which is a nice chance to sample these and know if there's ones that you're like, oh, I really could use a whole package of that. So sign up for that in the next day or so because that is about to disappear. Or access to sign up is about to disappear. Now, when I said international shipping, the other big announcement there is that Stampin' Up! Has announced that now they will allow stampers from countries not where Stampin' Up! Is not already. So I just realized my camera is not here. Let me see if I can get that set for you. I'm still here, I promise. There we go. Okay, so Stampin' Up! Just announced that they are going to allow people to use courier shipping. So if you are outside the US and outside a country where Stampin' Up! Currently has demonstrators, so this doesn't apply to Canadians or those in the UK, France, Germany, Austria, Australia, New Zealand, where Stampin' Up! Already has demonstrators, you're still going to order from your demonstrators in your country, which is great. But if you are in a country, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Taiwan, Japan, any other country, Switzerland, where you have wanted to order Stampin' Up! Supplies, but you couldn't previously, now you can. You are going to ship to a courier in the US. So as long as you have a shipping address in the US, then you'll be able to ship to that courier and then they'll reship to you. So Stampin' Up! Is allowing that where in the past they hadn't. There are a handful of countries that are not available due to international tax law, sanctions, things like that. And if you want to check those out, you can go to my website at Loven Stamps and go ahead and look at the blog post that I made about international shipping. Global shopping is what I called it. So you also have the chance now to get at Stampin' Up! Products. So yay. If you have any questions about those details, please let me know. I'm happy to help. You'll want to double check and just make sure you understand how that's going to work. So if you want to sign up for the paper share, my point is yes, you can now, because I will also ship to courier house addresses the same as Stampin' Up! Will. So yay for that. All right, so let's get back to our dots here. I'm going to go ahead and add these. And I always talk about adding them in a way that is going to enhance our card and not distract from our card. And so what I want to do is I want to put these on in a way that strengthens our focal point, which is sort of our squirrel and our greeting right here. And so I'm going to put those dots on, and I'm putting 5 on this card. I know that's more than I usually do, but they are right in this area here, which is going to draw the eye attention right here into this sort of circle-y zone here. And that means that they're going to enhance our focal point rather than just like distracting from it. So instead of putting like one out here and one out here where they're kind of drawing your eye out here where there's nothing going on, these dots are all drawing your eye here where everything is going on. Does that make sense? So there we have our squirrel card there. All right, now I have a couple more announcements also new today that you guys are going to want to know about. So let's see, talked about international shopping. The next one is craft classes. Stampin' Up! Is going to start offering some crafting classes where you can order the supplies, but then you'd pay Stampin' Up! To watch the Stampin' Up! Video tutorial, the Stampin' Up! Class information. So that will be available coming up in October, will be the first one. So I'll let you know more about that if you're interested. The other thing that happens on the 18th, so on today is the 16th. The 18th is Thursday. So on Thursday, is this right? Today is 16th, Tuesday. Thursday the 18th, geez. On Thursday the 18th, Stampin' Up! Is having a stamp sale. So it will be 15% off all stamps. So bundles are not included. So the punch would be excluded, but this is a great chance to get the stamps that you've been looking at. So maybe if you didn't want the punch or the dies for something, or there's a stamp set that doesn't have a bundle, this is your chance to get it at a discount. So Thursday in my online store. The other thing is World Card Making Day is coming up. The first Saturday in October is when the virtual event that Stampin' Up! Is hosting is happening, and that World Card Making event will be free. So it's a virtual event. You can watch it live. You can watch it later. But if you register, you'll get a reminder from Stampin' Up! And you'll also get a bonus that they haven't told us about yet. But I think the answer is you're going to want to register. And it's free. So why not? So there's a link in the video description of this video to sign up for that. If you want to stamp along, you're going to want to order the Handmade and Heartfelt project kit. And you can get that from my online store. And I appreciate your support in ordering from me. So thank you. I think that covers our, okay, one more. Stampin' Up! This year is going to have a crafting advent calendar. So September 23rd is going to be the first day for that. And I would recommend, I just don't know how fast they're going to go. They are $99 and they include materials for your crafting that have never been seen before and will not be seen again. They're exclusive to the Advent calendar. So you're going to want to watch out for that. You might get one for you and one for a friend, and you can open them each day and get excited. But I'll have some more details, but that's coming up next Tuesday will be the first day for Advent calendars. All right. I think that maybe covers us. This is a lot of extra announcements today. But you know, it's like our version of Monday, so it's probably time to just have some new things. In any case, I'm super in love with our punny Fluffy Squirrel, and I am enjoying sharing these ombre cards with you because, as you guys know, I love bright colors and I love ombre and I love blending brushes and all the things. So if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, check the video description or drop me a note. I'm happy to answer them for you. And make sure you say hi and all that good stuff if you're watching. So like, share, comment, all those kinds of things really help to support the Loven Stamps channel and studio. So thanks, guys. Everybody have a great day, and I will be back on Thursday with another Maker Mornings with Meg video. Happy stamping, everyone.